I'm still talking with Chris Robertshaw, and your other big news release today is about local housing authorities and getting together the way forward for sustainable public housing in the Isle of Man. Could you explain what you've been up to?
Yes, indeed. Well, I think you'll remember that this is now the second part of the David Tolson consultation process. The first one was to look at what our problems are. Why haven't we got a sustainable system? What it is that we need to do to get it right? And we've got to that point. We know what's wrong. Now we've got to put it right. So we're in the second stage. And in the second stage of the consultation process, we have to engage closely with the local authorities so that they can bring their input into it. What we've got to do is arrive at a situation where there's better and more provision of public sector housing, where there is appropriate and modern opportunity to engage in first-time buyer homes, and that it's fair and reasonable across the board. We've got to get those efficiencies, which to some extent come from scale, but at the same time we've got to be sensitive to local issues. So that's the challenge. It's not going to be easy.
How do you get all the local authorities on board? Because this up to now has been half the problem. They've all got their own agendas, haven't they?
I suppose the issue there is, if you look at it from the standpoint, do we want the local authorities to do what we say, then you've got a problem. What we're actually saying is, look, these are the problems that we've all got. How do we together find a way forward? So we need contributions from the local authorities as well as our input and that of the consultants. So it's a journey. We've got to find a way through this. We have to, because it's important when you've got a big waiting list and some to provide for, and you've got houses which need replacing. And you need to provide opportunity for people to get on the first-time buyers list. You've got a lot of work to do to deliver a fit-for-purpose system. So we must find a way forward.
Means testing?
Yeah, that's stage 3, isn't it? You've had the first stage, which was to recognise last year that the rents were way behind where they needed to be. So we went up across the board 10%. This year we've pursued a points system, which recognises the fact that the point system, which fundamentally is sound, needs modernising. We had a ridiculous situation, for example, where you have somebody in a tired old public sector house that's difficult to heat moving into a brand new one, and because of the way the point system was structured, the rent they paid went down, which was crazy. So the point system recognises the amenities that are available in, for example, new houses, so that those in older, smaller properties with less amenities will be paying less, and those with brand new houses with thermal efficiency, opportunities to park their cars off-road, etc., will be paying more. That then leads us on to the final stage, which is means testing and your question. And that identifies people's ability to pay. And so therefore those on the lowest incomes would be in the most advantageous position, and those on good incomes would be asked to pay more.
You've gone to consultation on this. Did the stories ever back up? You know, the ones that everyone's heard about, people having holiday houses in Spain, yet they're still in council houses, and they've got, you know, the big villas somewhere. Did any of that pad out, or will there be anybody that will have to move out?
Well, that's popular public commentary, really. There's a grain of truth in that somewhere, but what it tended to point at was the fact that the existing system we've got is not fit for purpose, and that's what we're trying to put right.
I mean, will people be put on the streets?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But can I take you back to my escalator? Do you remember the escalator and the concept that the escalator is enabling people to keep moving? We spoke earlier about Atos and the cliff edge and locking people in. What we're trying to create in all of this is a fluidity, so that those who need public sector housing can move into it, and those at the top end who frankly have arrived at a situation where they don't need public sector housing, they don't need a subsidised rent, can be encouraged, and that's the word, encouraged to look at another style of housing. It might be, for example, some form of shared equity, but there's no question of throwing people out on the street.
And very quickly, the people who are trying to get onto the property market, the first-time buyers, anything on the horizon to help them?
Well, we kept the existing HPAS scheme in place for the 2 years. I brought that to the floor of the House, floor of Tynwald last year. That gives us adequate time to structure a new system, which we will bring out in due course and as quickly as we can.
Okay, thanks so much indeed for joining us.
Pleasure.